Hey, hey, I am Jessica Gallison, and it's 15 minutes on Friday. I am going to get our guest on the line. Her name is, she is here and gonna join us. I am super excited to talk to Nellie today. Oh, here she
Hi.
comes. Hi, how
I
are
was
you?
ready. I was ready.
Welcome, welcome. I'm super excited that we're chatting.
I know, me too. Me too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to say first off, um, this is Nellie Peralta. She is one of my Orlando referral partners. Nellie and I belong to a group with about 130 agents in it, and we collaborate, we build business together. Yesterday we had an amazing meeting about putting on events. We do so much together, and it's really just so much fun. And I think Nellie's birthday's coming up, so I want to say happy birthday to
It's
you.
tomorrow.
Awesome. I saw you're
Thank
having a
you.
birthday party open house. That's super fun.
Yes, and I'm excited about that. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He says, "It's your birthday." I says, "My birthday is 24 hours. Why can't I not take 3 of those hours and see who I can help?" So I'm actually gonna have a real small birthday cake with balloons and let's see how that goes.
That's super fun. I'm excited. I
Yeah,
hope you get a good turnout.
I hope so too.
Absolutely. A little bit about Nellie. She was originally from Manhattan, moved to Orlando in 1997. Nellie, in a previous life, worked in the medical field, in the healthcare field, 17 years in sales and service. And she's super active with her brokerage, which is awesome. That's something that we don't talk about as realtors, but I think it's important that consumers, buyers, and sellers know if you're active with your brokerage or if you just use it to hang your license and you don't go there. My brokerage, they take attendance, and 80% of the realtors that attend things in our brokerage are the 20% of the most successful agents. So it's important to know what your realtor's doing, who they're talking to, things like that. And Nellie is certainly doing that.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your business, Nellie, who you serve, and what area of Orlando you really like to work in. A lot of people don't realize how big Orlando is.
It's huge. It's really big. So I work Central Florida. Orlando, Kissimmee, Seminole County, um, a little bit of Osceola County as well. And I will go into Polk and Lake, but I do have a great partner in Lake now. So instead of me driving 45 minutes and plus they live there. So that's something that I really take into the medical field. The 17 years, I had a total of 25, but of those 17, I worked on the field. So I was driving up and down all of Central Florida, including I will go down to Davie, which is Fort Lauderdale, it's almost 3 hours. Um, so I could say I'm a little familiar with all these areas, but I'd rather just stay close where I can, where I live, work, and play.
Absolutely. You know the most about where you live, work, and play, and it makes sense. I have another referral partner that I work with in Lake County sometimes as well. It's certainly very different than the rest of
It is.
Orlando.
It is, yeah, it definitely is. And I just feel it's little. it could be a disservice, you know, like if I've lived there in the past and I'm familiar with it, I understand that. But if I gone maybe twice a year, I really don't know it, you know. So I'd rather just pass that on to someone that I trust.
Absolutely. It makes such sense. Tell me a little bit about the clients that you're working with. Do you work with relocation? Do you work with what kind of families do you typically work with? Or couples or people or whatever?
Yeah. So I work a lot with relocation. And I guess it's because, of course, I understand, right, all the minutia with the relocation and the stress and all that craziness, because it is a hassle. And having someone who's wanting to move to Florida, Central Florida, maybe came here a couple of times, but is not really familiar with it. I love those because I have a moving to Florida guide that I've created over certain years, and a lot of it has questions that if I would put myself in their shoes, what would I want to know? And also questions that working with people relocating to Florida that has come up. Um, and the other thing is also when you are relocating to an area that you don't know, you want to work with someone who is genuine, honest, right? Who is going to ask you, what do you like to do? You know, what do you don't like? You know, do you have children? What do you do in your pastime? What are your activities? And then I try to identify as close as I can, you know, 2 or 3 areas that could fit. So instead of us visiting 30, 40 homes, you know, that could be just wasting your time, I try to narrow that down. So when I'm working with someone, there is a lot of phone conversations that we have, and it's only because I'm only trying to get to know you the best that I can.
Right. Absolutely. I call that a discovery call. I do the same thing and work with a lot of relocation as well.
Yeah.
There's so many people moving to Florida. Some of my favorite conversations on those discovery calls are the questions that people have when they're not super familiar with Florida. Do people ask you a lot about alligators and
Hurricanes.
reptiles and hurricanes? What are your favorite questions that you always get asked?
They always say, you know, like, what about the hurricanes there? I'm like, you know, we are in Central Florida. I've been here going on 28 years now, and the worst I had was Charlie in like 2002 or 2003, and he didn't do anything but take a couple of shingles off. So by the time it hit Central Florida, it's hit so much ground, so much land, that it's really no longer like a hurricane because it needs to be in water to kind of pick up speed. By the time it gets here, it could be strong, but I have not yet witnessed any. I mean, I have 17 uncles and aunts, and we are 65 first cousins. And about 40 of my cousins live here, and like 8 or 9 of my uncles and aunts. So I have a lot of family
That's
here in Florida.
amazing.
And nobody's house has blown away. Nobody has had major damage besides a few shingles here and there. Again, I cannot tell no one. I can't say it'll never happen because, right, you just don't know. Mother Nature is
Never
so
know.
powerful. But in 28 years, my house is still standing. It's still there.
Absolutely.
So.
And even the building restrictions aren't as strict as in South Florida, correct? There's a lot of homes in Orlando. Are they built with concrete block or are they built with lumber?
You know, they are a few homes now that are starting that have been built with lumber recently, which is pretty interesting. There's a community that's it's called Sunrise and Sunbridge. Sorry, it's called Sunbridge. And what they did was they bought all of this land that had so many trees and things like that. And the way that they felt that giving back is using the lumber from that tree to build those homes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. But you know, the city does have codes, right? And all these homes have to be built to code. So that doesn't concern me at all, at all. Now there is another builder in which is interesting. They're in South Florida, and they came up to Lake County in Groveland, which I find that interesting because in Lake County, you're more inland and you have a little bit of mountains, which is unique to Florida. So hurricane there it'll do less damage if anything. But they building these homes that they're 8 inches thick of pure concrete. It's called Onyx, ONX, and that's pretty interesting. That they actually are building that here, and your insurance premium for that is like $800 for the whole year because the homes are built above code. So they even said it's even above code, so we don't even have to worry about any code. So that's pretty interesting. that I
That's
saw
really
that.
awesome.
Yeah,
That was one of the biggest things for me when I moved to St. John's, coming from South Florida. I know about hurricanes because I grew up in Palm Beach County and I lived through Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Wilma, all the big ones.
yeah.
And when we moved up to St. John's, the first thing I noticed was the houses don't have hurricane shutters. And everything is built out of lumber. Finding a concrete block home in St. John's is very unusual. In Duval, there are some homes because they're older and it was different and they didn't know about hurricanes in the 1920s when they were building those houses. But in St. John's, everything is built out of lumber. And I was like, what is happening? My husband said, that's normal because they don't have
Yeah,
hurricanes. So I was really blown away by that. But people in this area don't know about hurricanes at all the way South Florida and even in
yeah,
Orlando people talk about.
yeah. But
So that's
even
really cool.
even in Orlando, it's not as bad as
Right. The
South Florida.
worst you're going to get in Orlando is losing power,
Pretty
right? Typically.
much, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And there's
Yeah,
barely even flooding, which is great.
yeah, yeah. The only flooding we had was a year and a half, 2 years ago, and that was only because there was so much rain, like that came down in such a short period of time that all the drainage was, we didn't prepare. So there was a lot of things that were clogged and stuff like that. But again, a lot of the homes, I don't know what year this started, but they're elevated quite a bit.
Yes.
So my house, not even going down to my driveway, my home, the one that I own now was built in '03, '02, '03.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome.
no damage there at all.
And
No damage there at all.
And then the other thing that a lot of people want to know about when moving to Florida, at least in my perspective, is homeowners insurance because there's so many different areas in the state and things are affected in such a different way. I secretly want like the Tampa, St. Pete area to become its own state so that they have their own insurance rules. But how have you seen insurance? Is it improving for you? It does seem to be getting better for us in Northeast Florida. Does it feel like there's more options for homeowners to purchase homeowners insurance lately?
It's interesting to say that because I've had two calls in the last maybe 15 days for homes that I've sold in the last 2, 3 years,
Mhm.
where they called me and they said, "Hey, my between my tax insurance, my tax, property taxes, and my insurance premiums, my monthly rate is mortgage is because of the escrow is now increased by 2 or 3, even 400." So what I do is I tell them this. I says, "Look, you can always shop for home insurance. Is it just like you would do for anything else. A lot of folks, even with their car insurance, they'll get this insurance company and they'll never shop around. They stick with it forever and ever and ever. I always tell them, always give yourself 3 years, and 2 to 3 years, start shopping. Um, and make sure you have your wind mitigation saved, because that's going to save you 10, 15, 20% off of your premium. And that expires every 3 years. So every 3 years, order yourself a new wind mitigation. It's about $150.
Yeah.
Send it to the insurance company so they can lower down that they can give you that credit for having that. Now I know that Citizens was a federally funded program, and that's going to go away, but there was news about 8 more insurance carriers coming into the state of Florida this year.
Yeah.
So they're going to trickle in, and that's going to help a lot of homeowners. What I also tell my homeowners and my buyers,
Yeah, I lost audio. Oh, I think I hear you.
yeah,
Oh, it's getting weird. Mm.
am I back?
Yes, now you're back.
I had to put in do not disturb because my phone keeps ringing.
Oh.
Yeah, so during my buyer consultation, what I tell my buyers is, when you get homeowners insurance, it's like you have insurance on your car, for example. When your tires go flat, you don't go to your insurance carrier and say, "I need new tires on my car." right? It's for emergencies. And because when you start putting all these claims on your home, you're going to have an adjuster that's going to come to your home and knock on your home. And it's their job to find things wrong, right? Because they get, they get a percentage, they get a kickback. So they're going to find things, but you have to weigh your options. Is it easier for you to pay $1,000, $2,000 to get it fixed, or do you put an insurance claim? Because not only will that affect you in the future, because insurance carriers, you have a credit score with insurance carriers that is not your credit score with credit cards. It's totally
Right.
different. So they will rate you in the future based on your score. And what's your score? Is how many claims you've made on the insurance carrier.
Right.
And you're not only hurting yourself, but you're also hurting everybody else that they have, because everybody's premium it goes out because of all these claims.
There's only one pool of money for
Yeah.
everyone.
So I tell them that, and I try to educate them that way. I said, okay, your roof is damaged. I get that, right? You had a huge leak in your home and all your house got flooded, your drywall. That's what insurance is for, But I've seen stuff that I'm like, guys, be careful because you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting everyone else that a carrier has under their policy because they need to make the money back. So, which
Absolutely.
I feel that what we're going through now is because of what happened a few years back, and there was so many, So I say, let's help this get back to some normalcy, and just be careful. Just choose wisely.
Our 15 minutes goes so
I
fast. Tell me
we're almost there.
all the reasons that people love to move to Orlando. What's the
Well,
best?
I have this shirt that I wear when I go on cruises, and it says, "I live where you vacation." So Florida has so many ports, right? People love to enjoy the cruises, and what best way to just take your car, drive. I'm in Central Florida, so it's about a 35-40 minute drive to Cape Coral, Cape Canaveral, and
Canaveral?
yep, and then just go and grab your boat. You have on the East Coast, you have them on the West Coast, and you have them on the South. Your beaches, I think we are the only state that we're surrounded completely by beaches all over the place. So if you want the East Coast beach, you want the West Coast, which is beautiful, and then of course our weather. It does get hot, extremely
Yep.
hot, but you're always in the under central AC, and then again you have your beaches to cool off.
I love the I have a my very best friend from high school lives in the Orlando area. She actually lives in Lake County and we meet at Ponce Inlet. It's exactly an hour and 20 minutes for us to meet in the middle and it's a beautiful day. The beach is beautiful. Our
Fishing,
kids love
the
it.
fishing is awesome
The
there.
fishing is so good. And then the other side, oh my goodness, the
Yeah.
beaches on the Gulf Coast are second to none, just incredible. And there's so much more than theme parks in Central Florida.
If you
Um,
notice, I didn't even mention Disney.
and I love that you didn't even mention it. One of my favorite things between where I live and where you live are the springs. And it's funny, I grew up in Florida my whole life. I never went to a spring until 2020. And I was like, what have I been doing my whole life? This is
Yeah.
the most amazing
Yeah.
thing. There are such cool things about Florida, and the nature is second to none.
Yeah.
We love it in
Yeah.
Florida.
We have the Fountain of Youth is in Florida. I don't know if you know
Yes.
that.
Yeah, it's right by me.
I want to go in there one day.
There's actually two Fountain of Youth in Florida. There's the like commercialized one, and then there's a hot spring that they also call the Fountain of Youth. I have to figure out where that is. I'll put it in the comments for
I
everyone.
think I know. I have a video on. I found someone who did a video on it. If I find it, I'll share it with you. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Nellie, tell us how we can reach you if we want to move to Orlando
Well,
or if we're selling in
yep.
Orlando.
Absolutely. So my phone number is very easy to remember because all the digits repeat itself. It's 321-299-5544. And I am with Keller Williams Advantage Group number 2 here in East Orlando off of Waterford Lakes.
Awesome. I also want to say thank you, Nellie. Nellie connected
Thank
me
you.
recently. You connected me with a friend of yours. It was a realtor to realtor to,
Yeah, one of those.
it's just important that we talk to each other and connect with people because really great realtors and realtors that can collaborate together. Sometimes it's hard to find. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I'm super
Thank
excited to work
you.
with your friends' clients, and I'm so grateful that you jumped on with me today so we could talk about your
This is a
business.
first for me and I loved it. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. We'll do it again sometime
I look
soon.
forward to it.
I wish you the very happiest birthday
Oh, thanks.
and good luck at your open house tomorrow and have a beautiful Valentine's
You as
Day.
well, my love. And thank you again for having me. Wish you the best. Happy Friday.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye bye.